Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks, nerds, fanboys, fangirls, germs, germaphobes, all kinds of other phobes. Welcome to the Vigilant Geek podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Puzak of Vigilant Geek Media, and with me, as always, my comic book partner in crime,
Holden Orme of Vigilant Geek Media.
And today we are going to provide a very vigilant recap of Boston Comic-Con 2016.
Yeah, so this event for us is like the equivalent of like vacation and Super Bowl all at once.
Yeah, for the normies.
Yeah, we would have come out with this sooner, but like actually there was kind of a hangover after the con. A certain amount of mental exhaustion.
There was definitely. We had to digress. We had to get our bearings again, and it took a couple weeks for that. So here we are. Still less than a month from the convention, from when the convention happens, and we're finally blabbing about it. We just put up the article on the blog. Go to thevigilantgeek.blogspot.com to see all kinds of neat photos of some of the events we took place in and some of the cosplays. And we actually, the Vigilant Geek guys cosplayed one of the days. We went on a cosplay harbor cruise hosted by cosplayer Ivy Doom Kitty. She's usually the host of that event every year, and I was Harvey Two-Face, and I thought I made a pretty damn good Two-Face, and then Holden, you were Shaggy.
Yeah, I went from Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I had planned on going as Indiana Jones the entire year, and then one morning I looked in the mirror and I was like, I really like all this hair I have now. And I can't really use this to be Indiana Jones. It's just not going to pull it off. So I went ahead and I shaved up my goatee, and I was a very convincing-looking Shaggy, I feel.
And you'll see on the blog, they actually got we got some photos of Holden dressed as Shaggy in front of the Mystery Machine, driving the Mystery Machine. It's really cool stuff. And then Christopher Gerard, who actually is a member of Vigilant Geek Media team, he does a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, like photography and graphic design and things like that. He was there. He went to the con with us, and he was Scarecrow. So we had some good costumes, and like I said, there's all sorts of goofy pictures up on the blog in regards to that. But anyways, let's talk a little bit more about the ins and outs and events and comings and goings of this year's con. Now, obviously, it keeps getting bigger every year. This year, it was bigger than it was last year. And with that, there was more to do, and since there was more to do, there was more for us to do and more for us to cover.
There was so much going on at this con.
Lots of celebrities. There's a strong celebrity roster this year.
More guest speakers than last year, too. They went ahead and they managed to get William Shatner, and then they managed to get Frank Miller, which I have a theory.
Yeah, well, you can't just say I have a theory, but I'm not gonna tell you.
No,
like I'm all ears. Like I want to hear.
Yeah. Well, so this year, a lot of people showed up from the con. A lot of people from DC. Like every year, it just seems that like Marvel, like come on, go to Boston. And then they only convince like the local creator artists that live in the area anyway. There are a lot of them in Somerville,
we got Stan Lee last year at least, so that was cool. I got to meet him and listen to last year's Boston Comic-Con podcast if you want to know more about Stan, because that was a story from last year's con.
Right. Well, I think this year there was some sort of clandestine DC meetings going on. The reason I say that is because Frank Miller he never does appearances. So like all of a sudden he decides that he's going to do an appearance on the East Coast.
And it was announced like pretty last minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like 2 minutes before. No, like 2 to 3 months before.
Yeah. It was only a few months before the con, I remember, because I, like, all of a sudden, one day, I remember you telling me, hey, Andrew, Frank Miller's going to be at the con, but guess how much it costs to meet him?
Yeah.
And then I said, nah.
No, $400. Ugh. Like, RoboCop 2 was good, but it was never, ever that good. Ever.
Well,
with all the things in that
I
movie.
think Mr. Miller is known for some other work out there, both in film and of course the graphic novel medium. Besides RoboCop 2, but that actually was a masterpiece in my eyes.
Well, that's the best film he ever wrote. I mean, you can make an argument for 300, but like when it comes right down to it, RoboCop 2 is about as good as it got, and then. So I don't feel like the Sin City movies should count since he wrote the source material as well.
Oh, all right. I was going to argue that, but fair enough. But so yeah.
My theory.
Yeah. Back to the theory. So we all of a sudden, bing bang boom, we got Frank Miller coming to Boston.
Right. Then all of a sudden you got. Some other tells. Brian Azzarello comes every year, but he was going to be part of Frank Miller's thing. And then there were a couple other things. So when we finally started going to some of these panels on Friday, who's there but Dan DiDio? Now, Dan DiDio is like a big-time sit-at-your-desk, like, takes care of important production type things. Like he's
the CEO of Jerking Off.
Pretty much. Well, him and
No,
Jim,
I'm just kidding.
him and Jim Lee, they do kind of the same job. So there's like big deal guy randomly here, unannounced in Boston, right? All right, and then the next following night, you see tons of all these. Pretty much most of the DC creators are like all hanging out, all getting hammered in the hotel. Later on that night. Then you find out that Sean Murphy, a well-regarded artist, working with DC, he's there, but he's not at the con, but he's there. So it's just like, it's weird.
Yeah, he wasn't going to be doing any commissions or signing anything for anyone, but he was just there.
Yeah, he wasn't there for panels or anything. So this makes me think that DC was having like a meeting, like they're making a decision on like something to do next. They're just like, hey, let's all get together and get hammered and then kind of come up with the next step. And about a week later, they said that Sean Murphy was going to be doing his own Batman book, which maybe they were there to get the blessing from Frank Miller and Brian Azzarello and Scott Snyder. And
perhaps.
Maybe. Or they're planning their next thing, because Master Race is almost finished, right?
Yeah, I actually fell behind. I got to the fourth installment of that story arc, and then I haven't been picking it up lately. I'm going to try to catch up on it, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been picking up too. It's one of those... When it comes to miniseries or just like, yeah, it's a limited run, like, I just wait till, like, I have all the books and then read it, because...
It's so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. It's... Because that's how it's meant to be. Comic books are supposed to be completed versions of books, or at least, the story arcs complete. So, but reeling myself back in here. So that's my theory. So I think they're either thinking of trying to come up with like the next like event, which DC's been doing really well since Rebirth, but I still feel like their events suck.
Well, yeah, they haven't had a big crossover event or anything since the New 52. Since
well, let's see, Convergence was bad.
I guess Convergence would really be the last one that we've had from DC. I mean, then some of their other like events, like the Dark Side War, wasn't bad. The Justice League arc, but that was just Justice League.
Yeah, that was limited to his book. That could have been the event. I mean, for that year. I mean, that's how they did it. Although you can tell what the event's going to be with like what's spinning off for one shots.
Yeah,
because like they've done that with 0 Year, Forever Evil, and I don't know. But you know what? You want to know what? I'll give it up to DC. At least they frickin' showed up to the con, because Marvel has terrible representation every year. You go, you go to the front of the entrance of the con, you see all these Marvel characters on banners. They're on the T-shirt.
Yeah.
They're on the program. They're not in the convention.
Yeah, I know it. I think that we had Mark Waid, and that was really it.
Well, that was pretty cool.
And Brian Stelfreeze, I guess, who was doing Black Panther. I mean, it was really cool. I mean, both those guys. It's great to have them there. But yeah, Boston has been a DC town, with the exception of Stan Lee being the guest of honor last year. You set that aside. Boston is pretty much been a DC town for the last 4 years. I mean, that's how long we've been going. And it really seems like, DC just has a much stronger presence. And we'll get into some of the creators we got to meet and got to take some photos with and get some stuff signed, and it was primarily DC though. So just real quick, I'm just gonna rattle off some of the other celebs. Some of the other ones worth mentioning. You mentioned Holden. William Shatner. I believe he was like the official guest of honor for Comic-Con this year. I was never like a huge Star Trek guy. I always leaned more towards Star Wars, so it wasn't, once again, another one of those VIP experiences I didn't feel I needed to pay hundreds of dollars for. But they had a lot of other big names from in the thing that impressed me the most about the celebrities was all the actors and actresses that showed up from the DC TV universe. You had John Barrowman, who played the Dark Archer. You had Katie Lotz, who played Black Canary. You had Robbie Amell, who played Firestorm. Hawk Girl, I forget the actress's name, but Hawk Girl was there, and they had like a whole panel, and that's just really cool because like those shows are hot right now. Like they get a lot of popularity and a lot of steam, especially with Supergirl moving to joining sort of the universe, the CW universe, moving to the CW.
Yeah, they're going to be on the same network now, so it'll be easier to cross over and stuff.
Which is pretty cool. Not to get too sidetracked, but
well, I mean, it's all comics here,
Yeah,
I'm actually kind of
exactly.
excited with the prospects of it being on the CW as well, and then just the possibilities for programming, since they're all on the same network. It almost seems like it's like the DC network at this point.
I know it. Well, yeah, CW is Warner Brothers television network, and I mean, Warner Brothers, the two of their big properties are DC Comics and Looney Tunes, and you can't really do much with Looney Tunes on primetime television. So, bingo bango, let's start turning these comic book characters, these timeless caped crusaders and heroes and villains into television characters, and they've done a marvelous job at that. And it was great to see such a strong presence from the TV universe they have created, so that was kind of cool. So lots of celebrities.
They did that. Well, like lots of other people from other fandoms as well.
Well, yeah, you got the Doctor Who companions, Jenna Coleman and Karen Gillan. You had Gillian Anderson from the X-Files. Trying to think of the rest off the top of my head.
I think that's like most of them.
There was a guy from The Walking Dead. Forget his name. He was there.
And then there was like 15 people from the Star Trek film.
Oh yeah, Carl Urban was there.
Yeah,
who played Dr. McCoy. He's also played Judge Dredd in the Dredd movie, and he was there too. And then Marvel's one sole diplomat, I guess, was Elizabeth Henstridge from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was good group of celebs. So, if you were somebody who enjoys getting your picture taken with celebrities and getting things signed, that's certainly a lot to do in that aspect of the con. However, there are many other aspects of the con as well. Why don't we take some time now, Holden, and let's walk ourselves through day by day of what we did, the three of us, me, you, and Christopher Gerard, who is a little bit shy for the podcasts, but like I said, he's like a behind-the-scenes guy here at Vigilant Geek Media. But yeah, let's walk down memory lane and recap some of the things we did since we got there on Friday.
Yeah, so we arrived after the doors opened. We went ahead and we settled the business with the hotel to go ahead and check in. Showed up around noon, so it wasn't... The line had gotten really bad around the building at that point, but like when you're rolling with the VIP tickets, you can pretty much get in whenever you want, and that's the importance of the VIP tickets. VIP tickets are amazing if you want to get in without any hassle, and if you want to go ahead and cut in line to pay for those photographs with celebrities and get their autograph as well. That's the best part, but the most invaluable thing is getting into the building, because July and, well, no, it was August, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had the con a little later this year. It was, I believe, the second week of August.
I mean, even though it's right on the waterfront in Boston, it was still like so humid. It was
oh
really
God,
bad.
yeah.
And then inside the con grounds itself, they actually kept it pretty cool. But yeah, you don't want to be standing out in that line. So after we went ahead and we took care of that, we went and tried to track down some quick signatures, which I believe right out the gate we ended up getting David Lloyd and Marv Wolfman.
Yeah, you got a awesome issue of Crisis on Infinite Earths signed by Marv, and I got an issue of Batman Year 3, which was actually a Dick Grayson origin story that Marv wrote back in the late 70s.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Obscure.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was really pleased that I had it and that it was already part of my collection, so I wasn't spending any extra money. And then I got it signed by Marv Wolfman for free because he was actually a nice enough guy, even though he's a legend. He was like, he'll give you a free signature and then $5 for each one after that.
I think it might have been 10. Or was it 5? Because I remember some
No,
people
he
were
was
really-
only charging 5. It was Azzarello charging 10, sitting in the corner with no fans because nobody wanted to pay the $10 to, you know.
To be fair, remember the year before and how like clear his table was and nobody was there. So he probably just figured like, if the one or two guys are gonna come by, maybe they'll pay $10.
Yeah, and like I was one of the two guys because I remember I got my brother Lono signed last year, and then I had all this new stuff like Master Race variants and everything, and like as soon as I found out, I was like, damn it, I can't afford that, and it sucks. But well, it's his discretion, I guess. You know, that's they're there. I guess they're trying to make a little extra coin, but
I mean, there's
at least give me the first one for free, for Christ's sakes, for Pete's sakes. Pardon me.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like Marv Wolfman did. That was reasonable. That was cool.
yes, especially for somebody like they're thinking their britches are too big or something, Like,
Well, the man did write 100 Bullets, and that was like 100 issues of the most amazing crime noir I've ever read.
That's true. Well, he's coming out with another title, and he's working with Eduardo Rizzo again, and it's called Moonshine, and it has something to do with Chicago gangsters, booze running, and werewolves.
It sounds like it's got some potential. That's something I would check out.
Yeah, what's coming out? I believe it's like an image book, and it's going to be out in these next couple months. I don't know. They've been hyping. You know how it is. Like, things come out in previews 3 months before they're even going to come out. People don't want to deal with it. And then they ask for it to be put on the pull list, like, the last second, and it's hard for creator-owns to really take root, But, like, somebody like Brian Azzarello is not going to have any issues getting people to buy his book because people are already familiar with him and his work. So,
yeah, if chances are, if you're a fan of the graphic novel medium, in fact, I'd be really surprised to hear someone call themselves a fan of the graphic novel medium and have not heard of Brian Azzarello. So, I would question if they were a true fan of said medium. But yeah, with that being said, yeah, so then there was David Lloyd, who had to, he did the art for V for Vendetta. So if you've read V for Vendetta, I mean, the art was not the reason to like the book, really. The art was...
It was.
Oh,
well, are we trying to be nice right now? Because if we're being nice,
we don't need to be nice to people like David Lloyd, because David Lloyd's already, he's made his stamp in the industry, so it's like sportscasters, dirting on who the latest guy who got caught on steroids or something. It's like that, but we dirt all over comic book creators and people like comic book people. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, to put it kindly, David Lloyd's art style is the mediocre 80s style that it's like generic and was over recreated over and over and over again throughout the entire decade. There's nothing to really separate it from anyone else's work except for the fact that he illustrated a book done by Alan Moore, who's probably one of the greatest writers in the medium.
Yeah, he's like one of the
past 40 years.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the kings of the medium, one of the gods of the medium, however you want to put it. Yeah, David Lloyd, very smug man. He had us standing there for I don't know how long until he looked up at us.
Yeah, he didn't have a line. He was working on this commission for something.
Yeah, but where was the guy he was working on the commission for? Oh, maybe he came back. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, but either way, he said that he would sign my copy of V for Vendetta as soon as he was done working on whatever he was working on. So that was interesting.
It took him, yeah.
It was so awkward just standing there,
took like a minute.
Mr. Lloyd, I'm such a great fan of yours.
That's the most awkward part of the Comic-Con experience, because it's like, oh, hey, like you're meeting people, like, hey, I enjoy your work, but like I'm not about to go slaughter a goat on an altar for you. And so then you get the awkwardness, like, hey, I like your work, I enjoyed it, and I know stuff about you, but don't know anything about me. I'm trying not to be weird, and then, yeah.
But and I think that a lot of these industry creators, these artists and writers, we've talked about how like they might not have the greatest social skills, but some of them sort of do. Like Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, they're always great with fans. They're easy to talk to.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome
Amanda
guys.
Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, another example. Every year I bring a pile of Harley Quinns for them to sign. I think they've signed like 15 out of however many issues they put out for the new 52, like just 15 of my issues. I have them hung all over the place in my room, but they're really nice to their fans too.
Yeah, it's just a shame that those two groups of people are like the most coveted people to be seen, because they were so busy the entire con. Both of them, they're involved in panels, all of them, like 15 panels. They say they're going to go ahead and sign stuff, and last year it worked out because what they did was they gave out these tickets with numbers, and based on whatever your number is, you go, you walk up, and you get your thing signed, and then you can walk around, and you don't have to stand in line and deal with the oppressive staff who like work there once a year because they wanted to get in for free. And then they regret it. So they're like, if that's the one thing I would change, like Comic-Con is best to be enjoyed if like they go meet like some independent creators or some up and coming artists and writers, because they're going to be in there and they're going to be no lines, and you can go and you can have like a 5-minute conversation with these people and really find out what they're doing, what they're getting into, stuff about their work. You know, it's not a like assembly line where like up you go. Hi, how are you? And then you get the signature and then next. Yeah, and then they push you out the plane. Like, ah!
Yeah. Well, you make a good point there. If you're also an aspiring comic book creator yourself, an aspiring writer or an aspiring artist, maybe, those are the people you want to be talking to. You want to be talking to people who have already like done what you want to do. People who have already published their own creator-owned material and are selling it at the con, and they have a table. So there's some of the best people. They're doing it because they love it. They're not making $1 million off this. But there's some of the best people, most down-to-earth people to talk to and to get advice from on how to proceed in a creative endeavor such as that. So there's just some food for thought there too.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I feel panels should be good. But lately, like the panels this year, it was like half and half. Because like half of it was good. Because like when I go to a panels, I want to see some insight behind the scenes. I want teasers about future up and coming story arcs. I want stuff like that. I don't want to. But when we went, it was mostly like just like inside joke stories. Like, hey, Amanda Connor, remember when I joked to you about Rebirth being Afterbirth, and then you did that terrible variant cover that we couldn't do after you took it seriously? And then and stuff. So
it's like, hey, remember when I was at work and you were at work and we were both at work and we had a really hilarious interaction, but no one else in this room full of 300 people knows what we're talking about. Yeah, that was so funny, and that was what the panels were sort of like. This, I mean, the Snyder Capullo panel was sort of like that too, but at least we got to sort of say goodbye for now to that Batman creative team, and I got to ask them each what their favorite story arc was. So that was cool. Greg Capullo's favorite was Death.
Was it Endgame or was it
no?
Death of
it
the
was
Family?
Death of the Family. Because of all like just the grotesque and gruesome panels that he got to draw. He loves drawing that stuff because he's got a huge horror background working on Spawn and Haunt and things of that nature.
Yeah, what was it? Scott was like, "Oh man, like." It was like really messing with him like emotionally. It was like it was so dark, and I'm like, "Oh man, I hope you can handle it." And then and then Greg gets the page. He's like, "Oh, nice." And that was a pretty funny interaction. They also gave a little insight. They're probably going to get back together on All-Star Batman and Robin. No, not All-Star Batman and Robin, just All-Star Batman. Yeah, because All-Star Batman and Robin was something else.
Yeah, for now, All-Star Batman, he's slated to have a bunch of different artists.
I'm thinking within the span of like the next 9 months, we're gonna get our Greg Capullo All-Star Batman story, and how Scott went ahead and described like Batman like riding on a Harley towards like some sort of hellscape with a battle axe, and like. The thing is, when Snyder teases things lightly, it's real subtle, but he's secretly trying to tell the audience what he's gonna do.
Yeah, without giving the whole damn thing away.
I mean, he's done it a handful of times. Like the year before last, when you went ahead and you asked him like, "What's next for your Batman run?" When he was doing his final Batman run, and then he kind of wishy-washy talked about like other things he wanted to do, and then how he said that he didn't want to leave Batman until he'd explored the entire Rogues Gallery.
Right.
So then he left the main title book, but now he's doing All-Star Batman, which is where he is exploring the entire Rogues Gallery. Because already in All-Star Batman, he's already like 5 different rogues have popped up just in like the first book. We got like Killer Moth.
Well, yeah, you had Killer Moth and Firefly, and
Two-Face.
And Two-Face, obviously.
So maybe just 3. But then like I've seen teasers for more.
Well, that's cool.
So yeah, but he's always really good about the teasers with that stuff.
Yeah, so that's always a good panel to go to because Scott Snyder's there every year. You know, one of the big DC guys that's always seems to be in Boston for the con. He makes it a point to go, and I, being one, he's one of my favorite writers. So I appreciate the fact that he makes the effort to go to the Boston con. But yeah, that's a great panel to go to because you'll at least get something out of it. The DC panel we went to on Friday, was that Friday? Yeah. They didn't give us much. They didn't give us much to play with.
No, I think they're really just trying to rehabilitate the line, which Rebirth is kind of. I didn't realize like how big a fans people were of DC. I always just kind of felt like Marvel had the upper hand on DC, and for the past 5 years, because of the New 52, when DC pretty much was just like, remember all the rich story and character development and continuity that we had? Oh, we're just going to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And that really alienated a lot of people. And because it's that backdrop, like when you're reading the stories, that rich history that kind of makes every new story better. And people want to go ahead and write stories that add to the legend and the mythos of your Batman and your Superman and the rest of the Justice League and the entire DCU. So,
oh, absolutely.
You just, I did that thing where I lose my point.
No, I mean, it's just it wasn't a year for panels. It was
no,
it was bleak in regards to panels this year.
I think
that was basically all I was trying to get across.
Oh, no, it was, yeah. No, I think most of the panels that I went to this year, it was remember when we were at work and we were doing our job? Yeah! And then everyone in the crowd's like, yeah! Of course, it didn't help that, like, most of the questions fielded were young kids who just, like, have been told, like, how hard it is to get a job, and then, like, they see these people who are employed. So they go and they walk up and, like, what is it like to be employed?
Yeah. Yeah, and art students looking for advice and things like that.
But that stuff's not too bad, though, because they actually, like, the advice that a lot of the artists were giving on some of those panels was actually really good stuff. The problem is that, like, unless you're kind of interested in that information.
Well, no, it's, like, the main thing that they told aspiring artists is draw every day. And that can be applied to anything in life that you want to be good at. Do it every day. Do it once a day. If you want to be a good writer, write something. Write something every day. If you want to be an artist, draw something every day. If you want to blab on the internet radio like us, do it every day. I guess if you want to be good at it. I don't know. Maybe we'll get there someday.
Yeah. Well, another thing they said, too, is don't stick to one style or genre.
Yeah, it's important to be versatile.
They like learn how to do most things and then do what makes you happy, I guess, after that.
Yeah, I think that applies especially to artists, aspiring artists. So, yeah, no, it's good to hear what some of the people that have made it, what they have to say about, advice. Like, I thought it was really cool what Amanda Connor said. Now, she writes Harley Quinn with her husband, Jimmy Palmiotti, for those that don't know. When she said that she had actually worked as a comic book retailer for years, like I think like about a decade with her ex-husband, they owned a comic book store, and you can tell that's the kind of person that truly loves comic books. Like truly loves the medium, and it shows because her work is so successful. And then you got those massive lines to get Harley Quinn books signed at Comic-Con and stuff. It's she has a certain style of artwork that I happen to really enjoy, and I know tons and tons of other people do too. But it also is like if you have a real passion for something, and yes, if you do practice it every day, you can go from owning or operating a comic book store to writing the books that are stocked in said comic book store. So I wonder what her ex-husband is thinking now. Is like he's like selling her comic book in his comic book store.
Yeah, and you gotta have Harley, and if you're running a comic book store.
Oh yeah, you can't just negate that book.
Harley Quinn has been labeled as the fourth pillar of DC Comics by Jim Lee.
Really?
Yeah, which I don't know if the sales numbers support it, but like I can kind of see that. So it's like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn.
She probably is like among the most popular. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it certainly was at the con. Like, geez, it's the two longest lines were for Snyder Capullo and Palmiotti Connor. Like
Batman and Harley Quinn. Yeah. Yeah. The two most popular books, and then of course Superman's always going to be popular, and Wonder Woman, and then after that, you got to be a DC fan. You got to really to dive into some of these other titles. You got to be a fan of the label, like the Flash, Lantern, Aquaman, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah. They've done such a good job of building with the Rebirth line, though. It just it feels like when you were reading the New 52 books, like, because even though I got in on the ground floor with New 52, after reading some of these Rebirth books, it feels like there's like whatever was missing is there now.
I feel the same way. From what I've read so far from Rebirth, and we're gonna do an episode on Rebirth coming up pretty soon, I imagine. I mean, we've both been reading the books. So be on the lookout for that within the next few weeks for sure.
Well, what else happened? Day one was a day of signatures, panels, and
the drink and draw.
And then once we did that, then we did the drink and draw later that night. So the drink and draw was this free event that they went ahead, and it was sponsored by DeviantArt and Webtoon. And it was free, and it was downstairs in the hotel. And what you do is you just show up, and then other artists and everything go there, and they create art, and then they were going to put it up on auction later on that weekend in the con. So we went, and we started hanging around, and then all of a sudden, like, famous people started showing up, like Jimmy Palmiotti, like randomly showed up, and then he made he just drew like a really simple pair of tits, and then I guess that got auctioned off. I mean, and there were a bunch of other cool stuff too. I actually ended up shooting the shit with one of the artists there, and then I ended up getting a sketch of Donald Trump as a pig.
Yeah. That picture's on the blog, and it had a double theme with Animal Farm for those that are fans of Animal Farm. It was a really cool art piece that I thought, and very appropriate for Donald Trump. came out really well. So it was really cool. The Vigilant Geek guys, we sat at our own table in the corner because we can't draw. We aren't blessed that way. However, just to see some of the stuff being created around us while sipping on some beverages, some adult beverages,
it was pretty surreal. And then after that, we're walking around, and then we're walking by all these creators, pretty much most of the people that are involved in my stack were in the bar across the hall, and you could tell. It was just like a DC party weekend, because a lot of people from DC had birthdays on that weekend.
That's right. Who were the ones with the birthdays? I forget.
Billy Tucci, Brian Azzarello, a couple others.
Yeah, either way, it was a big DC gathering, and can't help but wonder if your theory, your DC conspiracy theory, is correct. I think it very well could be. They're planning their next big move on the game board of graphic novels.
Maybe. Well, you know how it is. They're always planning shit 9 months ahead of time. So
yeah.
when it comes to the news like this, I mean, the big tell was just like, what the hell? Dan DiDio works in California now. That's because that's where DC moved its offices. They're not in New York anymore.
So he went to the opposite coast to be at Boston Comic-Con.
To go ahead.
To what? To what? To
host panels.
Host panels? No. No. He was there and something was going on behind the scenes. Yeah, that's for certain. So,
yeah. You can't fool us, DC. We're too smart. We're too smart. Smart.
So then, day 2 we cosplayed.
There was the cosplay, and I bought so many prints. It was a really good con for prints this year. The quality of the prints provided by all the artists this year was just absolutely fantastic. Insane. And then I picked up my crown jewel. I picked up original artwork that's going to be featured in Silk number 12 from Tana Ford.
That's right.
And then so hanging out with her was wicked cool too. I shot the shit with her a little bit, and then learned a little bit about her creator own, and then yeah, she was also at the Queer Enough panel on Sunday. But I ended up buying some original artwork from her. It's actually getting framed as we speak, and
yeah, I saw it, and it's really something else. It's gonna look great on the wall.
Well, it was reasonably priced too. Like this is artwork that is the source material for what is going to be in a comic book that is going to be sold around the world, and I have the original, so it's just like, woo! Yeah, I'm feeling real special about this.
Now that's like probably like the ultimate souvenir from Comic-Con if you can walk away with something like that
with original prints and artwork. Not too many bring that original artwork like that, and usually when they do, it's usually quite expensive. So like, I'm so happy I got in on the ground floor with that. But I got so many other good things too. I picked up a fake stuffed unicorn head that I have mounted on my wall upstairs.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Picked up any number of Steven Universe prints, the Batman Dark Knight prints. I picked up a Raphael Albuquerque print from the Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, I saw that, and where he's in the mud pit fighting the mutant leader, and boy, did that come out good. Wow.
Really good. And I got some simplistic stuff with some Joker and some Green Lantern, and yeah, some, like, my living room has gone from blank, boring space to like now it's turning into something. We got to get some happy walls here. Get some comic book stuff in my living room.
Yeah, but it looks nice, But yeah, so we all stocked up on prints. I had a lot of young children asking me to take pictures with them, dressing up because I was dressed up as Two-Face, and Christopher with the Scarecrow.
You did a hell of a job on the makeup too, with the what was it? Because you like half your face had to look like disfigured and mangled, and it was quite nice for a gruesome thing.
It didn't feel so nice though. I got to tell you. I had to glue some scars onto my face first, and then I had to paint over the scars with this white stuff, and then I had to paint everything else over with the red makeup to make it look all bloody, and then I had to put fake blood over that, and then I had to do my hair and do half my hair all white. You'll see for those of you who are gonna go to the blog and check it out, there's pictures on the blog where half my hair is white, and yeah, it's all crazy looking. But Christopher and I went around hunting down other cosplayers that were members of Batman's Rogues Gallery, and I think we collected all of the real popular ones. A bunch of Banes, bunch of Jokers, bunch of Harleys, Poison Ivy. Yeah, I mean, even Batman. We got some pictures with a really good Batman too. So I do have to say that I used to kind of be the guy to swear off cosplay, this is just annoying, and all these people are taking pictures and clogging up the aisles. But when you get into it a little bit, it's actually a good time. So
Well, that actually felt like the flow of traffic this year was a lot better because, like, I remember last year, and it was just felt like it was like wall to wall people.
yeah.
But this year it just felt like the flow of traffic was a little bit better. Like, I don't know what they did to go ahead and improve the flow, where people walking between the booths and stuff, but it actually, it turned out quite nice.
Yeah, no, it wasn't nearly as bad.
No, and then not even with the... No, so, I mean, they really cut down on the places to sit for people, and then because... I mean, before, how they'd like, oh, the fire marshal's going to come get you, which there wasn't as much of that this year.
No.
But, I mean, all in all, it was really good. So day 2 is, like, pretty much just, like, straight up, like, prints and then cosplay. And then later on that night, we went on the cosplay cruise, which was a nice little ride around the harbor.
It was a really good time, actually. Overpriced drinks, but I have to tell you, the food was really, really good. They had this spread on the bottom floor of the harbor cruise boat, and there was like lasagna and stromboli and calzones and pizza and salad and cake and just anything else you could think of that you could find at the Olive Garden. In fact, maybe it was catered by the Olive Garden. I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't know, so it probably wasn't. So, but I stuffed my face and watched people dance around in costumes, and it was a good time. It was a real good time. We had fun. We were exhausted, and that brings us to day 3.
Yeah, by day 3, day 3 of a con is always like it's a grind because you've been there for so many days. You've seen most of everything, so like you're just trying to check boxes on that list of things that you wanted to do before the end, and then you want to get those boxes checked, and then you want to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
Just being surrounded by that amount of people for that amount of time, and that's why it was actually so important that we actually ended up getting the room this year. Because before it was just 3-day VIP, and then you got to kind of go find places to hide and chill out. And then, but this year, we went ahead and we had the room, so we could go ahead and hit that time out. So, it was like right now.
Oh, it was a lifesaver. It was a godsend having that room. But by day 3, we had to check out. So that brings us, to a point where we no longer had lodgings to take breaks and relax. So we became very disgruntled and ornery vigilant geeks.
And with that, let's go ahead and give everybody our little survival tips to go ahead and get through the con.
Okay, yeah. So every year we do a Comic-Con survival guide as part of our Boston Comic-Con podcast every year. So we want to give you some tips. So, next year's con season goes smoothly for you. So tip number 1, and this is a repeat from last year, but it's just something very important to hammer home. Spring for the VIP pass. You won't regret it.
Yeah, it is. It's really important.
The line to get into the con, unless
it wraps around the convention center all the way around the back. I remember in the early years where we'd go, we'd have to kind of run because the line would be forming, so we'd have to try to catch up with the flow of traffic and then somehow jump in the line, and then you'd always end up with this one guy who's dressed up like Wolverine, who isn't really tough, but today he is. He's so tough, and he's gonna look at you and be like, "Hey, bub, that's my spot in line," and you got like one of 2 options. You can let the baby have his bottle, or you could probably end up going to jail because this guy's just gonna... He's Wolverine today, okay? He's Wolverine, and he's tough, okay?
Yeah, I suppose it might be easier just to let the geek have his day.
Or you could avoid the mess altogether, and avoid all geeky confrontations, and just get the VIP. And then, because the VIP tickets, you pretty much go. The line for the VIP is at the door. You walk up to the door, you tell them they're VIP. They're like, "Oh, go see that guy," and you walk up, you scan the thing, they slap the 3-day pass on you, they give you the thing, you go get your free stuff because you're VIP, they give you free stuff. It's always like a t-shirt.
Oh, yeah, that's another small perk. You have to pay for those Comic-Con t-shirts, posters. Newbury Comics gets in on it. We got free Harley Quinn glasses this year,
yes.
which were great. You have to pay out the ass for the T-shirt and the poster if you want any of that stuff from the con.
Well, the variant, they had a Harley Quinn variant this
year. Which we also got, yeah, which was a Boston Comic-Con variant cover done by Amanda Connor. I got it signed by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti too. It's hanging up in my room. It's gorgeous. We got all that stuff for free for being VIPs. So you get a little bit of return on investment there, besides the fact that you get to cut everyone in line.
Well, the amount of sanity you'll save, because once you get inside, you're going to be waiting in lines again. I mean, it'll be a little bit cooler, and you'll have the satisfaction of being inside. But like the line in itself is like this Herculean task that you have to endure, and it's going to take forever, and the heat index is going to be close to 100 degrees, especially around the summer in Boston. And if you want to get super mega wiped out and they're like going to need intravenous fluids by the time you get into the building, maybe you should have just paid the extra couple bucks, because like the VIP tickets are only really like $175, and that's like 3 days.
It's worth it. It's so worth it.
It's so worth it just to get in at your leisure and like get in and get to the things that you want to enjoy and do. Because unfortunately, with big things like this, like they're gonna you got to make people wait in line. That's how it is. Everyone can't get stuff signed all at the same time. It's not gonna happen.
Well, I mean, if they didn't do that and it wasn't organized, you'd have like a situation like Christmas shopping at Walmart where people are running over each other.
So like Black Friday, Lord of the Flies shit.
Yeah, people are getting trampled and injured and murdered over comic book signatures and things like that. And so, yeah, I guess the lines are a necessary evil. But if you want to get to the front, get a VIP pass. So yes. Tip number 1, VIP pass.
Get it. Now, let's go ahead and smoothly segue into tip number 2, shall we? And tip number 2 is bring food and drinks. There's no rules against it. Over the past 3 years, we've gone to the con. The food lines have gotten a little bit better, but you're still going to be paying close to $10 for chicken fingers. And not even the good kind.
Yeah, shitty chicken fingers and shit sandwiches, and they're gonna make you pay $20 a piece for them.
Yeah.
So bring your own food. There's no rules against bringing your own food. We bring sandwiches and all kinds of stuff every year, and it works out great. And we don't waste that valuable con time hanging around in a food line. We're already got to wait for panels and other things like that. So gives you a little bit better way to maximize your time at the con and save a little money. So tip number 2, bring a food and beverage. So this brings us to tip number 3, which is perhaps the most important tip in my opinion. You want to have a plan or a strategy based on what you want to do at the con. And the con offers a lot. It offers something for everyone. You might be a panel guy or girl, sorry. You might be more of, a cosplayer. You might be somebody looking for getting comic book signatures. Well, these things all happen at different times of the day, and they're scheduled. You got to really plan out, when you're gonna do what.
especially for certain signatures. If the creators that you want to get their signature are particularly popular, and you know they're going to be part of about a dozen different panels and everything else, like you got to find out when they're going to be available. Personally, I'm kind of over the big names after this con. I enjoyed talking with some of the more entry level, not necessarily main eventers, but like the quality of their work's still good and everything, and they're available, and you can usually just walk right up to their table, and it's nice.
You're still talking about mainstream creators, just not Frank Miller.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're saying.
I mean, this is the kind of phenomenon that really kind of, like, I think there's just, like, really a handful of people. Like, Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor have it. Greg Capullo has it. Scott Snyder has it. Like, that aura about them that people want to get, their work signed by them. And it's just, if you're going to go try to get signatures from any of them, like... Yeah, you really do have to plan, because a lot of times the lines themselves just to get the signatures, if they're not doing the ticket thing, which I thought was wicked good last year, but they
got to go back to the ticket system. It worked so much better.
Yeah, no, they really messed it up this year. But I mean, because we'd go and we'd show up for the lines to get these signatures, right? And they'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, the line's capped." I'm like, "All right, well, I'm forming the line behind the line that's capped." And then depending on how much you can sweet talk the staff, like they maybe sometimes let you sneak in the line. And
yeah, I remember Christopher Gerard was trying to get his Harley Quinn signed. He got his Harley Quinn variant.
Yeah,
and they sent him away like 3 different times for Amanda Connor's table, Jimmy Palmiotti's table. They kept sending him away, and he was getting so pissed. Chris doesn't get pissed about anything, and he was finally like. He was if we didn't get it signed that time when I went with him on the last day, he was gonna blow his lid. I
imagine he would have. Like he spent so many times trying to get that weekend, and he'd always run into the same kid who works the staff. I ended up talking to this kid like once.
It was Christopher's arch nemesis. He kept sending him away. Nope, sorry, line's capped. Nope, sorry.
Oh, sorry, line's capped. Sorry.
But you said they were gonna be back by 2. Well, now it's 3. Sorry, they got work to do.
I mean, they're so busy. It's just as like whoever this kid was had like gigantic delusions about the people he was kind of working for, not really working for. He was like he was assigned to the one of the biggest signature tables, and he took his little bit of power, and then like he just abused it. Sorry, line's capped. Sorry, line's capped. I'm sorry. Hey, could you straighten out that line? Hey. Oh yeah. Ugh.
You always got to watch out for those Comic-Con staff that are actually like really good at doing their jobs. You want to watch out for them. You don't want to cross them.
They're underappreciated. Well, it starts off like, "Hey, I don't want to abuse my power. Like, I want to just everything to go nice for everyone at the con and have everyone have a good time." And by like after the first 20 minutes of them repeating themselves over and over again, they get power mad, and then they're just like. No, it wasn't like that the 20 other times. Like, all right, getting sarcastic and passive-aggressive and like, ugh. Yeah, you got to be careful. Some of them are just not that nice of people, especially on a third day when tempers run high and people are just trying to like scrape out that one last activity that like they wanted to get done before they go.
Right. Or if you're a vendor, make that last buck. Either way, tip number 3 is create a plan or strategy based on what you want to do at the con. So you'll get the program, and there'll be times for everything: panels, costume contests, and then people, industry creators. That's more something where you're gonna have to go to their exhibit table. Everything's labeled in the panel. In the program. Go to their table and find out when they're going to be there, and then try to get in line.
Yeah. Social media has helped out, too. Like, I knew, that Scott Snyder was going to be lining up early, and that's, one of the reasons why we actually ended up in line at a decent
Did you
time.
find that out from Twitter?
Yep. Yeah, no.
No way.
Yeah, Scott Snyder went ahead and he posted that he was going to do a signing at 1.
Wow, what a guy for doing that.
And we showed up at
good looks on sniping that.
Oh yeah, no. Well, another thing is if you kind of have your eye on social media, if you follow people like you do, well, like I do, like my Twitter feed is like a mixed mash of comics, creators, wrestling, and soccer teams, which is a huge mixed mess. But I follow a lot of creators, and some of them were at the con, and it actually turned out really well. I was pretty happy about it. But yes, that's what allowed us to actually get the Snyder signature this year. Because I remember the first 3 years, it was hard to get. It was like the white whale. Like we'd go every year, and then like, how do we go and get the signatures? 'Cause we were so new to the con that we didn't even know how to get them.
Right. Yeah.
That's back when they were doing the system with the tickets.
Exactly. Yeah. So have a plan. So tip number 4 is actually a really good one that Holden thought of. I didn't think of this one, but it makes a lot of sense. If you're somebody who's into collecting and into buying prints or variant issues of certain books you like, or what have you, bring extra cash on you, because a lot of vendors do not accept debit or credit cards. So some do, but a lot of them don't.
That's something that's kind of new, like with the vendors accepting the cards. But all in all, cons are a cash business. Everything you want can be negotiated for with money, and I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. Like, say you got some back issues that you want to get your hands on, or there's this fairly rare book that you can't really find. Well, odds are you'll probably be able to find it at the con, because they bring all sorts of high-end stuff there. Trying to pick up a discontinued pop vinyl, or looking for variant covers. All these things are offered there. Or you want to get prints. You want to make your house nice. I mean, and most prints are relatively reasonably priced, anywhere between $20 to $25. Sometimes they go a little bit higher, but yeah. So it's always good just to bring extra cash, no matter what. But especially for the collector's aspect of it, because, like, I don't know about you, but every time I go to a con, I always end up coming home with like way more stuff than I showed up with, and that's kind of how it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with that Vampirella life-size cardboard stand-up I got, but I got to find someplace to put it. It can't stay in the bathroom shower for much longer. That's for sure. I know you're probably getting peeved about that. No, I'm just kidding about that whole thing. But yeah, no, bring extra cash, because, you're going to end up having to use the ATM if you don't. Which brings us to our final tip, and this is not a cop-out whatsoever. It's very important to have fun. Do not hold back. Just follow your inhibitions and be hedonistic for the time you're at the con, and do all the things that you want to do, regardless of how geeky or nerdy they are. Because it's all about having fun, and it's all about...
It's important to make that a priority, too, because, like, going to cons, especially for us when we like to delve into everything, it's hard to forget that it's not entirely and completely a business trip. Like,
right.
You got to remember that these are the things you enjoy and you love, and that's why you're there. We like to report on this stuff, clearly, but it's so important to do what you enjoy at the con. And that's why every con we've been to, it's got like a different theme. Like, first one we went to was about panels, and then the second one was about panels and buying back issues. And
so we started getting into signatures then, too.
Yeah, and then the third year was the year of the signature. And
yep.
then,
yeah,
and
that's right.
Year 4, I feel like, is it's the year of the print.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually really surprised with the ratio between vendors selling actual comic books and vendors selling original artwork. there was so much more print and original art pieces than actual books. I felt like maybe that was just my own perception, but really interesting. This was kind of the year of the print.
Yeah. Well, the huge variety of prints offered this year was more than I felt at other cons.
Oh, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I mean, it also has a lot to do with like what your mood is and like what you're going for at the particular con. Like the year before, I had gotten so many good signatures that like there were a lot of people who would have been repeat signatures.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I feel like my focus for cons is going to be kind of more local coming around now, just because the people are more available. They do interesting work. And then it kind of needs some shine on that.
Well, we have our indie book initiative that we are going to constantly be working on in regards to putting out independent book reviews on creator-owned material. So obviously, we're going to be going to MICE, Massachusetts Independent Comic Expo in October. And then there's Ladies Con. Now, when is Ladies Con?
Let's see. That's going to be in Somerville on the 16th or 17th.
Of this month, of September.
Yes, and then Super Mega Fest is going to be in Marlborough. I think it's also this month. There are a lot of sneaky independent cons coming up.
Super Mega Fest is one of the bigger ones, though, and that's one that actually we've never attended. So we're gonna have to make a point to be at that this year.
And then other ones too. And then New England, the Shriners, the New England.
Oh, the Northeast.
Yeah, Northeast Comic-Con's coming back again in December. And then that's always a good one because that's usually where we end up meeting a lot of the local creators. They like to go to that one.
Oh yeah, no, that's we've picked up a lot of great literature at the Northeast Comic-Con that they have at the Shriners Auditorium. It's a great collector's con, and it's a great con for independent creators. So we'll be going to all those events, and we'll be posting blog articles on thevigilantgeek.blogspot.com.
And keep your eyes peeled on the YouTube channel.
If you're listening to this now, you are listening to our YouTube channel. But thank you very much for listening. We hope you are more prepared for con season next year thanks to us. My name is Andrew Puzak of Vigilant Geek Media.
And I'm Holden Orme of Vigilant Geek Media. And as always,
stay vigilant.